And I want to start the meeting with our land acknowledgement. So I would like to acknowledge the ancestral, cultural, traditional, and unceded territory of the Shoshone, Bannock, and Northern Paiute people on which we are meeting today. And big day. There's a lot that's going on within the department and within our space. We're going to have some welcoming today. And so before we get to that, I just want to acknowledge that we have the minutes that were completed, and I'd like to welcome a motion to accept or to move to accept the minutes.
I move to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Amanda.
I second.
Second.
I second.
Thanks, JJ. Any discussion from anyone? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? So moved. Okay, wonderful. So we're gonna defer, we have a little welcome for Sophie, who was going to be joining us in person today, but last minute she had to move to a Zoom and she's not on yet. So, I mean, I could welcome Sophie, but we'll talk about that in a little bit when Sophie is on, if that sounds okay. And so Doug, maybe I can just hand it off
Sure.
to you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commission members. First off, I just want to acknowledge the great time I had the last 4 months serving as interim director. I learned a ton. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with the commission, but spent a great deal of time with your staff. And I'm going to tell you something you already know, that the passion and the commitment and dedication that this department has. I know you're already aware of that, but I just want to reiterate that to the commission to know what kind of a team they have here. And it really was an eye-opening experience for me because I really didn't have the knowledge of what this department fully was made of and what they did. And so being involved intimately with the team for the last 4 months, I got educated very well and really got to see from an inside out perspective what value they have in our community and what they bring to the city of Boise. And so you have a great group here, the best. I can't measure it against other arts and history because I don't know any other arts and history departments. But I'm really proud of the work that they're doing and the opportunity I had to work with them. And also just thank you as a commission, your dedication, the work you put in to support not only the department, but really you're supporting the city and what we stand for when it comes to our cultural acknowledgement and the work we do in the community. So I really want to thank the commission for all the work you're doing and the work you're going to continue to do. With that said, we do have a new director, and I'm not happy because we have a new director and I get to move on. I'm happy because we have a new director. And Jennifer Stevens comes to the city. Many of you on the commission already know Jennifer. She has a very strong background in our business that we do in arts and history. She also has a strong background in knowing how the city functions, having served on a couple of commissions already and been intimately involved in probably the most vital commission we have in the city, which is our planning and zoning. She has a huge passion for what's going on in the community. And just in this small amount of time I've had to spend with her, she is full of energy and excitement and just desire to want to make arts and history the most visible and biggest part of our city moving forward. And I'm excited to see that because after spending 4 months here and see what the potential of this department is, I'm just so pleased to see somebody who's going to step into that role and is going to just really try to realize what that potential is. And so it's bittersweet, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm still around. I'm probably going to be moving furniture out of the Heineman house before the 22nd and getting that moved over to Parks and Recreation so that Kristen and her team and the parks, or excuse me, the art and history team can, get a ribbon cut. It's not really a ribbon cut, but a grand opening of the Heyman House. And we're dedicated to continue to be a partner with Arts and History and our Parks and Recreation, with our Parks and Recreation team forever. And so, and that's a relationship, and I'll leave it at that, but that's a relationship we didn't have before. And now we do. And I think Jennifer Stevens is excited about seeing how that relationship now just filtrates through all the departments within the city, which we really just didn't really have that kind of relationship with Arts and History. So exciting times, great times, and I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate the work of the staff and their dedication. But I would like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Stevens as the new director of our Arts and History department, and she's gonna do great things.
Thank you. If any of you ever call me Dr. Stevens, I will tell you not to do that. So please don't do that. Either
So-
Jennifer or Jen.
And Doug, before you, because I know you have to go, I just want you to know that as a penalty for that introduction, the doctor thing, then you have to volunteer for at least 2 artist selection panels and.
Love to do this.
And Stephanie, what do you have to say?
Mr. Chairman, Commission members, I have a feeling that some of my relationships I've built within this department, they're not gonna probably let me off the hook. I'm guessing they will hit me up for something here or there, but my job now is to get out of the way and support Jennifer Stevens any way that I can support her. She's not gonna leave a lot. She's gonna be able to hit the ground running and do a fantastic job. And as Chairman mentioned, I do have to duck out. We have an open space and clean water advisory committee meeting also at 4 o'clock today. So not to be rude, I'll have to duck out here in a few moments.
Before you go, I just want to say thank you for stepping up and coming in to help us. We really, really do appreciate it. So I just want to say thank you before you go.
Thank you,
Second.
Commissioner. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
I want to second JJ. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and really grateful for the ability that you organized for us, or helped organize the zoo visit. That was a really lovely time. So thanks for your support.
Thank you.
I know I've really appreciated working with you, and the fact that you haven't wanted to just put the department in neutral, you continue to move forward during this time, which has been really nice.
And I've enjoyed, Mr. Chairman, Commission member, working with Ty. I didn't know him before this, and then I was trying to get him to take over at Parks and Rec too now. Although we love Rob, but he's always so busy, and Tyler just gives you such personalized attention. It's crazy. I mean, it really is, because I don't know how he finds the time, because all the attorneys we have are so incredibly busy with work they're doing with the city. For him to dedicate the time to the department just shows not just his dedication, but how serious he takes the work that you all do. So thank you.
To be fair.
We were thinking Doug. We're thinking Doug.
Okay. I was gonna say, to be fair, it sets a high standard as my first and only lethal interaction, so.
Nice. Well, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I also want to say thank you to Doug. Without Doug agreeing to step in, I honestly couldn't have taken this position because I needed the summer to wrap some things up. So in addition to that, that was a selfish comment. You also have laid the groundwork and told me how great these people are, and they all said amazing things about you. And I think you did some great things over the summer, sort of, as Tyler put it, did more than just keep them in neutral. But I can see the motivation, I can see the inspiration, and that's a great place for me to get to come into. So I'm very grateful to you for that. I think I'm just supposed to introduce myself, right? So you probably all know my background by now, I imagine. So I've been a historian my whole life, with a couple of very brief detours. I have run my own business for the last 20 years or so, doing historical consulting work, which has involved some Idaho Power museum exhibit work, but also a lot of environmental history. I've done a lot of local history here in Boise. Typically, though, that's been for private clients and irrigation districts. So one of the things I'm really excited about, I did a little bit of work for CCDC over the last few years on the old Boise blocks. And what I'm really hoping is that the material and the content that I sort of learned doing that work, particularly the diversity of that particular area on Grove Street, all the way from 3rd Street down to 17th, is something we can really build upon, because in my mind, the mayor's goal of creating a city for everyone is our baby, right? This is where arts and history can really lay the groundwork and really make all these newcomers feel welcome, as well as re-engaging our current citizens, what I'll call the old timers, re-engaging them with a more accurate, true history of the city through both history and art, right? I want both of those things to reflect our actual culture and not just sort of the narrative that we have been given over the last 100 years. So it's time to sort of change the game a little bit. And, you know, I don't mean to come and get guns blazing, but I really do sort of see that we're at a really pivotal moment in our city's growth and our city's history. And it's time for this department that has done amazing work for the last 14 years or 13 years, 13, I guess it is, to like step it up and move forward. And you guys all have the most amazing backgrounds to do that. And I can see the groundwork is there. So we have a lot of leveraging to do and a lot of really exciting work to do. I'm especially excited to work with the commission also, because I honestly don't have a really good sense of what you all do, but I know you have great backgrounds and I know you're all very dedicated to this space. So I'm interested in working with you and learning from you, because there's a lot of things I don't know, particularly about the public art process. I'm quite good friends with Amanda Ashley, so I hear a lot about it from her. We talk a lot about it, and I'm very interested in it, but this is an area that I'm really going to need to sort of lean on my experts. So I'm just really excited to be here. This is a place, this position is where I'm going to be able to merge my passion for government and policy with my exact amount of passion for history. And I've never figured out exactly how those two things could come together. And here I am. So I feel really fortunate to be in this position. Very excited to be here and get started. It was a long summer waiting. I kept counting down, but anyway, here I am. And I appreciate all the warm welcomes that I got from staff, and looking forward to commission work as well.
Welcome, Jennifer, and thank you, Doug. I know that it has been so exciting to hear about your history and what you bring to the position, Jennifer. But selfishly, I'm also really glad that you are open to embracing the approach of DEI when it comes to this work. And that's something that I've really appreciated about Doug, is that there are folks who will tolerate that work. And then there are folks who embrace it and they make space for it. And that's who Doug has been. And so I was very pleased when the mayor said that our interim director was going to be Doug. I'm like, this is exciting, because the first departments that I recall really taking the initiative to do DEI work at the city were arts and history and BPD, at least overtly. I think Parks and Rec has just been doing it and not making a big fuss about it, but I love it. And so I was really happy to hear that Doug was going to see us through the interim. And so I'm really glad that you're going to be able to bring your training in and have that approach as you do this work and guide your staff through this work. Because all we have to do is look at what happens down at the State House to see how folks are reacting to us having a more complete and expansive view of history. They're seeing it as a loss, and it is a loss. It is a loss of white supremacy. We're moving away from that, and we are including everybody who has called this place home, whether they were displaced. Thank you so much for the land acknowledgement at the beginning of these meetings. That really touches my heart. And we're creating history now. And that's something that I really try to bring home to folks is, what's the footnote going to be in history about how you welcomed a newcomer and how you help to make sure that those voices and those people who have been systematically displaced and silenced, what are you going to do to make it right? And so I'm really grateful to the both of you for being a part of this really important department.
Thank you, Councilmember Sanchez.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
That's terrific. Well, I will start and then we will allow each of the commissioners to do just a brief introduction, introduce yourself to Jennifer. So I will start. Thank you. Thanks again, Doug. Bye. And so Jennifer John Hand, I am a recently temporarily retired HP guy. So I'm a high tech thing, working for a great company that's very engaged around, as Lisa well knows, very engaged around the paradigm that you're talking about from a diversity and inclusion standpoint. My background is from education is I'm a Boise State grad, history, secondary ed. I student taught at Boise High School at the same time that Fast Times at Ridgemont High was coming out. And if any of you might remember seeing that movie, watching it with your grandparents or whatever. The history teacher in Fast Times at Ridgemont High was Mr. Hand. And so I have been Mr. Hand my whole life, wherever. And I always thought I would be a better teacher than that Mr. Hand, but my graduate work was at the University of Maine, and I studied labor history, women's history, and Canadian history. So that was my my specialty. So I'm very aligned to your vision, Jennifer, from my personal paradigms. So that's myself, native Idahoan, married, 6 crazy kids, and I wish more of them lived here.
So John.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you must have been teaching history of Boise High when I went to Boise High. I graduated in '89. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High was in the '80s.
82 was in,
Yeah.
oh,
So
it
maybe.
was in reruns. I was there in '84.
Okay, so missed you by a few years.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, everyone, proud Boise High graduate.
Boise High grad, Bora,
Okay. Oh, boo.
Boise High, the second best in the city. And I did also want to say that from the standpoint of just commenting with Lisa, that it's one of the great assets with the department. Your timing is good. We have a new director. We have many new staff members. We have many new commissioners. Most of us are pretty new. And I think that what I love most about the department is just the willingness for people to really dig in on what's important and to speak the truth and be open to ideas. And so the staff is really, really great at that. And so I just want to acknowledge where she was going.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
department is not afraid of passionate speaking. And I love it. It's one of the things I appreciate the most about staff, because as people of color, we can't have too much passion in our voice, because then we're viewed as angry. We're not, we're just passionate people. And we care about what we're saying, and I love the fact that the staff can take it. They don't seem to be afraid of it.
For sure not. So should we? I mean, I assume that the staff has met you by now.
Yes,
Okay,
staff were good.
all right. So
Oh.
Catherine, you want to go?
Yeah, hi, my name is Catherine and I go to Timberline High School. I'm a junior there. And I joined last year and the Art and History Commissioner as a non-voting Art and History Commissioner member. And then, so like starting next year, I'll be a voting member. Then right now, I'm just trying to learn like what the like city do, and then like how's like public panels work. And then right now I'm working with like Stephanie about the Redwood public panel, and then I'm like learning a lot from there.
Yeah, and so just to be clear on how it works is what we typically will have a current voting member, which will be Sophie this
Hi,
year.
Sophie. I've known Sophie since she was.
Oh,
very
there she
small.
is. Sophie, you're here. Great.
Hi.
Hi.
More on you in just a minute, Sophie. Thank you. I didn't see you came in. And welcome, Chris. Thank you. So basically, we will have that rotating, either 2 or 3 high schoolers from the city. Only one at a time is voting, and you'll find that they're very passionate, inspiring, and top-notch students. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa?
Hi Jennifer, we just met. I'm Melissa Thom. I work in marketing at Idaho Power, so creative communications is kind of what I do. I joined the commission because I was missing a little bit of the arts and history in my life that I started my path down towards. I have a master's in English literature, so a lot of history and reading, professional reading. So I love the Arts and History Commission. It's been a great fit. I've been here for about 1.5 years. I think some of my favorite projects for public art so far have been, I got to help with the new library card designs, which I look at every single day on my dashboard. And I think the first thing I did was new traffic boxes. So that's a lot of fun to see around.
Yeah, those are awesome.
It's great. Okay, so I'm gonna go, Gabby, I'm gonna go in order how you're appearing to me.
Great. Hi, Jennifer. I've met you a couple times through Preservation Idaho. It's nice to see you and congratulations and welcome. My background is I went to Boise State for my undergraduate in history and then got my master's degree in Scotland in ancient Roman history. And I really appreciated, Melissa, what you just said about being a professional reader. It's like to be a professional reader. And then, of course, worked for Preservation Idaho for a while. And, you know, having grown up in Idaho, I thought I knew a lot about Idaho history until I joined PI. And then I realized how little I really knew. And most recently, I am working with a nonprofit called One Refugee, and we focus on providing one-on-one support for students with a refugee background as they navigate the U.S. college system in Idaho and Utah, and then help them prepare for careers and plug them into internship opportunities and job opportunities. And I just really appreciate so much, Lisa, what you were just sharing as well. And then also the work that Arts and History is doing. And, you know, one of our big goals is to help students be able to meet the national average of income for a college student newly graduated. And in Idaho, that is definitely lacking a bit. And so it's just really valuable to have opportunities to plug them in more and create more connections throughout the state for more opportunities and skills development. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Gabby. JJ?
Welcome, Director. My name is JJ Saldana. I work at the Idaho Commission on Hispanic Affairs, and we're a state agency that works under the governor's office. I am in charge of kicking off Hispanic Heritage Month, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm traveling all over the state, getting things set up for different towns to do that. We will be hosting ours in Boise on September 15th at the Capitol at 10 a.m. In addition to that, I'm also putting together some youth summits with the rest of our team. And so we host a youth summit in Caldwell this year. We're going to have one in Twin Falls and one in Pocatello. We have about 2,000 students attending these summits. And the purpose of these summits are to do workshops on college prep, STEM, and leadership building. And the great thing about those summits is that we have just about every higher ed institution involved. And so high school seniors can apply for scholarships. And by the end of the day, they find out if they received a scholarship. Last year, there was $7.3 million given out to Idaho Latinx students at these summits. So it was pretty exciting. And then part of Hispanic Heritage Month that I've been doing probably the last 3 years is I do a cookbook where I highlight different Latinx folks from all over the state of Idaho with a bio. And then I also ask them to send me a family recipe. And so we put those into a cookbook. And this year, the Commission for Libraries is going to be putting that cookbook in every library. Nice. And then in addition to that, I host a show on Radio Boise called The Latino Card. And welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, JJ. Amanda?
JJ, I just clapped at like everything you said because it's so amazing. Magnificent. I want to think of every possible adjective I could say to describe it. That's so cool. Anyway, hey, Jen. Amanda Ashley. I'm a professor at Boise State in the School of Public Service. I'm also the director of School of the Arts, which is a job I just started about a month ago. And so I think what I wanted to share is that like the research that I do that you're familiar with is a lot on place belonging, place keeping, and place making, and the role that art, culture, and history play in that. And what you say that you want to do with the program is like near and dear to my heart, and the research and work that I think is really important. So I'm so excited to work with you on all of that. I did want to say that I've had a lot of amazing experiences living in here for just a decade, but the stuff that's at the top is working with the staff that do incredible work in this department that I love so dearly. And so I'm so glad that you are going to be a part of that and helping with their incredible knowledge and passion and excitement. And what they do for the city blows my mind every single second of every single day. And so I'm so glad that you are there. I also just wanted to say that I don't know if anybody watched the city council confirmation. And if you haven't, it's on YouTube, and I would go take a look at it, because what the city council member said about Jen and her expertise and what she wants to do and support in the department made me tear up and made me really excited about the future. So anyway, thank you. And it's so nice to see you all.
Thanks, Amanda. Chris?
Hello, sorry I wasn't able to be there in person today, but welcome Jennifer and congratulations. I am Chris Clegg, have been on the Arts and History Advisory team. I think it's been 5 or 6 years at this point, and became a commissioner this last January. I work at HP managing an employee benefit area that incorporates graphics. I do a lot of design works and printing for the employees. I also just last week took on, and in addition, I'm going to now be the nonprofit liaison between the community and HP going forward, which I saw some claps up there. And I became a commissioner and involved in the arts. I'm very passionate about the arts and making sure it's accessible to everyone. Right now, I'm on the 8th Street mural panel. We just wrapped up the grants program that I've been involved with. This was my 4th year in the Irma Heyman House. Very, very, very passionate about the Castle House too. It's right in my neighborhood. I feel very passionate about the artists that are selected and just the house in general. I think it's a magical place. And I love being a commissioner. So the staff is amazing to work with. You have such a great department. And it's going to be fun to see what else comes out of this.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, Sophie, I was going to talk about you earlier. Now I'm going to really talk about you. So this is Sophie's first meeting as a voting commissioner.
Yay!
I'm sure that she's been, going through all the rules of how this works, right, Sophie? Yeah. No,
Yep.
Sophie's great. And so I just want to say, welcome and thanks for, your time that you've invested over the last year. And then now you're ready for the spotlight. So go ahead and tell everyone about you.
Oh boy. My name is Sophie. I'm a senior at Boise High. What else? I'm just like super passionate about arts and history and just like all of the kind of inner workings of like how those work together. And because I think that we kind of think they're separated sometimes. I don't feel that they're as separated kind of as they seem to be kind of portrayed as. So I don't know, it's just been a really great learning experience for me to like just see how the meetings work and like the grants process and like selection and just all these different things. Like there's so much that goes into all these like decision makings, even like the traffic boxes and stuff that like I think we notice and I notice now, but that the general public maybe doesn't know as much about. And so it's just really fun to kind of get all those like inner workings. And so I do have to say, like when I saw the email that like you were going to be the new director, I just was like, oh my gosh, like I recognize her, like that's gonna be great, like I'm so excited. So I'm super excited and congratulations on your new role.
Thanks, Sophie. And just funny story for all of you. I ran into Sophie's mom, that's how I know Sophie. Our kids went to school together way back when they were super little. And Laura said, congratulations. And I was like, how do you know this? You know, because it wasn't public, and that's how I found out that you were on the commission. So I'm so glad you're involved in the city. It's awesome. And I'm sure it's been a great learning experience. And I just thank all of you for the service that you give the city. I was on commissions for years. I know it's a love of labor of love. I mean, so thank you for all the service.
Thank you. Okay, so that, now we know who's who in the zoo, so. So I know that we wanted to talk about, we thought it would be important, Jennifer, to summarize for you some of the recent work that we started when Amber was the director, and then we continued that through Doug, back to the point about Doug keeping things going. And it's about the commission and how the commission can work more effectively together with your team and be a better resource and provide just more support. So that's what we wanted to talk about. And Tyler is just going to do an overview of what this would be. And it's just, how can we build more glue between the department and the commission?
Absolutely. So about 3 or 4 months ago, got together. There's a portion in the Boise City Code that allows the Arts and History Commission to adopt policies and procedures for their own internal working. So we took advantage of that. As you just heard, there's obviously a lot of experience and dedication on the commission. And I think there was to some degree a little bit of a office space, like what is it that we do? It was stamped, and there wasn't a lot of involvement from the commission or knowledge of what was going on prior to, or any real buy-in. So that's kind of what we did with those policies and procedures. We also did some basic stuff like getting a vice president or vice chair and things like that, making the meetings more frequent. But we adopted what we are calling department liaisons, essentially to identify those areas where commissioners are interested and have expertise and could be a resource for people that are actually on staff. And then give a shout out to the staff for putting together a great liaison outline as to, we identified 5 particular areas. And that outline has kind of broken that down into what those specific types of support and assistance could potentially look like. So as of right now, those disciplines or specialties that we're calling them are funding, fundraising, and strategic planning, which we're going to be talking about renaming those, renaming the first category today, infrastructure, and then programming. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. It was just last meeting, I believe, that we actually took volunteers and appointed those liaisons, making sure that we don't have any more than 3 in any particular area, trying to be conscious of the communication that may flow because of it, and we're not running afoul of any public meeting laws. But that's kind of the idea. Obviously, anything that you learn in your liaison capacity outside of this meeting, the hope is that you bring it back here and share it with the group so that there's just a better understanding and connection between the commission and the staff.
And so within that, it's in the minutes, but and we won't go over it now, but each commissioner essentially raised their hands for 1 or more of these liaison groups, as Tyler outlined. And so I think we're excited to engage as commissioners. And we hope that this becomes a key tool, the key tool maybe outside of these commission meetings to allow your team to leverage the commission and support your activities. So. Anything anyone else on the commission would add about the liaison role? It's new to all of us. It'll be our grand experiment for this year.
I'm just excited to get started. Let's do it.
Yeah, and There's nothing particularly required. It's more of a as you see opportunities and as you can fill in and as it aids the department. Obviously, we don't want the involvement to slow down any of the work or become an encumbrance or anything like that. So it's as needed and on a volunteer basis, but trying to identify who fits where the best that we can.
Can I say something really quick too? I think it's very important to know that research had already been done. I think pre-COVID, the different pillars that we went with. I don't see
Good point.
Jennifer there, but a lot of research had already gone into what will be most effective.
Yeah. Yeah, we got J1 and J2 now. So Jennifer, do you just want to speak to that?
I'm so sorry, I got confused in the naming. What was the question?
Well, not really a question, it's more just a comment that Chris is just saying that this didn't just. We didn't develop it out of
Yes.
ether, it was
No.
leveraged from the
This,
earlier work.
this is, Mr. Chair, commission members, these categories, came out of the 2019-2020 cultural survey we conducted. This was both a scientific survey followed by a community survey and several focus groups. And those kind of buckets came out of those conversations. So the number one thing our community is looking to us for is funding. We are here to grant, commission, acquire, and invest in our creative and cultural community. The second thing is we are viewed as a collection or a collecting agency. So we do that through stories and oral histories and archives and artifacts. And we try to both collect and create public access around those items. The third one was cultural infrastructure, and that can take the form of many things. It can take the form of public art. It can take the form of cultural sites. It can take the form of historic sites. So it really is, we are looked to take care, preserve, be the stewards of that cultural infrastructure. And the fourth one was programming, free and low cost programming through the lens of arts, history, and culture. I'd say up to this point, our programming has been free and open to the public, and it is our responsibility to continue to find ways to engage the community in these topics meaningfully, find ways to educate our residents and visitors, and in turn learn from them. So those are the four kind of pillars. We added a fifth, which is kind of fundraising development through the creation of the Arts and History Foundation. And that was not established at the time of the 2019-2020 cultural survey. And so we added that as a way to give people a way to donate to something that is near and dear to their hearts. And so that was formally established in early 2020, right at the brink of COVID. And so unfortunately was not able to kind of see its full life, but we're hoping to continue to work with the foundation. We had a chance to meet with most of them at the Irving Hinman House recently. So hopefully we can develop that fifth bucket. I hope that.
Yeah, and I think that we're trying to grow awareness between the foundation, the commission, the department, and where it makes sense for people to be able to work together, then great. And so starting with awareness, as Jennifer said, I think almost all of the foundation officers did go through the Hinman House on a tour and then have some dialogue with staff. So thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Okay, and as a reminder, Exhibit B in the packet has all of the stuff about the liaison role. So as we roll into part 3 of our agenda, the first thing that we have coming up is pointing back to where Tyler was just at, and I'm gonna let him take over. But this is essentially came out of our last meeting and some of the confusion between the terminology that we have within the two groups. So Tyler, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I believe it was Amanda, thank you. Chair, excuse me. I believe it was Amanda that brought it up last time that the funding category and then fundraising could potentially be just kind of confusing for people. So what has been proposed is to rename the funding category. The name being proposed is publicly funded opportunities. We just change the name in the policies and procedures as to that liaison category, nothing more than that, just to add some clarity. So at this point, we would turn it over for discussion on that issue, and ultimately, if there's a motion to approve an amendment to the policies and procedures.
So any questions from anybody on the commission? Or anyone?
Not a question, just wanted to say I think that was a great catch. And I really like the change.
Thank you, Gabby. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
And
Approve and
I will second that.
We're just amending that, so Tyler's just gonna.
I just for clarity in the record, the motion, Gabby, I want to clarify, is to approve an amendment to the policies and procedures to change funding to publicly funded opportunities.
That's correct. Thanks, Tyler. After I said it and muted myself, I was like, oh, I should have given more. Thank you for clarifying that.
And then I heard a second from Chris Clay. Chris, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. It passes. So thank you. And thanks, Tyler. Again, I just want to say for all of your patience, these many months making this stuff happen. I think we're going to provide a platform that Jennifer and her team will be able to use going forward. So it's exciting. Because there's a lot of talent on the commission and a lot of knowledge, and so it'll help us accelerate that. So speaking of accelerating and speaking of things happening, Kristen, would you like to give us an update?
Yes, thank you. So as of tomorrow, we are 2 weeks away from opening the Irma Hammond House, which is insane and amazing. So we are now at the point where I think there are a few larger projects that we are still kind of cracking the whip on, and a whole bunch of smaller things that are kind of getting tightened up and wrapped up as we move along. So Stephanie, are you going to be giving an update on the public art piece?
If you wanted to, or do you want me to just really quickly?
Sure,
Just the update. So Vinnie Bagwell sent me an update earlier this week that she's aiming to have her pieces shipped and delivered by September 15th so that we can start install the following week.
So that would put the public art installation happening the first half of the week that we open on Thursday. So it's coming down to a very tight timeline, but fingers crossed it is within that timeline.
Yes, installation should only take a day. So we have the 19th, 20th, and the 21st. I will send out an email when we have a day. It's ample time. Yeah, it's plenty of time. We're good.
So public art piece is taken care of. We have a mural that is going to be installed on the interior of the house. We have been working on this for quite a while. There were some issues with the image quality on the images that we had before, so those were redone. And then thank you so much, Chris Clegg, for reprinting this. I'm hopeful that this is going to be installed this week. next week at the very latest, but this is a piece that I think is going to make a huge impact on the space. I'm really excited to see it up. We have been giving so many tours, and I just want to thank Jennifer Wybar for all of her efforts and outreach. We've been meeting with groups that have been pivotal in getting this project where it is today, and with groups that we are really hoping to have as our strong community partners moving forward. So it's been really incredible to meet with people. We had 2 city employee tours yesterday. It was really a great opportunity to meet some of our colleagues in other departments that we have not yet met, and introduce them to some of the work that we're doing. And we had some really wonderful feedback on it today, so it was great. We also had the opportunity to sit down with one refugee. Thank you so much, Gabby, for bringing your team by. That was really a wonderful conversation. So
We
I
felt the
feel like-
same. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think we're in a really good position right now to open this house with really good feelings and good momentum moving forward. So when we are able to bring on our staff that are permanently going to be dedicated to this site, they're in a really great position to join us in these community partnerships and carry them forward further. So I'm really excited about that. Otherwise, there are a couple of other large things that I'm still waiting on, but they're in the works, such as the shade sale. Again, this is sort of the public art conversation right now. Just my fingers are so tightly crossed. But yeah, hopefully that is all able to get taken care of in the next 2 weeks. And the opening day, September 22nd, the kind of run of show overall, we're going to have an event that lasts from noon to 6, with the official opening ceremony from noon to 1. And during that time, we will be having some speeches, the official kind of, it's not a ribbon cutting. We've come up with an alternative that feels a little bit more specific to the site and the story that we're telling. But we're going to have all of those happen within the first hour. Really, really excited about how this is all going to go down. And then Jennifer and Kat and Mackenzie and basically our entire department has been doing some heavy lifting, getting everything else ready for this opening event. So we're coordinating vendors and been planning kind of this procession of speakers and then some takeaways for visitors. So I just want to say I really, really, really hope that everyone can make it at some point that day. And we would love if you would spread the word to anyone, friends, family that you think would be interested in visiting and joining. This is, we hope this is going to be a really big event. So.
Is there something tangible we could share?
I was
to
gonna
do that? Is there gonna
just
be a-
add, yep, so we're publishing the event tomorrow. So I will share that link as an addendum to the weekly update. We also will have a digital invitation, which you will get very shortly. We're just tying up a few loose ends on the program. And then if you haven't already, follow along on our social media accounts, hashtag Irma Heyman House, and all of the updates will be posted there as well.
And not to do with the Irma Heyman House, but just one quick note before I pass this along. Our resident at the James Castle House arrived today. Antonius Tinboy, and they are delightful. Mackenzie and I were able to bring them to City Hall for their badge and give them a little tour of our space. And this is going to be a really, really fun residency. So this is a 10-week residency. Antonius will be with us until mid-November. So we're going to be postponing our events for a little bit longer than we typically do with our residents, just so that we can get past the Heyman House opening and have a little bit more focus to spend on these events. But starting in October, we're going to have open studios and workshops and opportunities to engage. So just we'll let you know when this is all happening.
And that press release is scheduled for next week. And I will make sure to include all the community engagement opportunities in the emails.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have one logistics question, and that is River Street on September 22nd.
We are not closing the street down, so we're not planning on having any vendors that are in the street. The challenge that people will be facing is parking. But we have identified a few lots that people can park in, and we're going to be putting together a little map so that people have an understanding of close areas that they can park and walk to the Hammond House.
And that will be communicated alongside the event.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm super excited, and I'm sure everyone who can be there will be there.
Please
From
assign us
commission.
volunteerships if you need extra hands.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good at carrying, packing envelopes,
Same.
all that kind of stuff.
Excellent. All skills that we need.
Yes, good.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And 2 more weeks, and I'm sure you're sleeping very well these days.
Yeah,
Or
like a
not at all.
baby.
Not at all. Okay, Stephanie, we have an update.
Yes, I just have a quick update on the 8th Street Tunnel mural project. The selection panel has selected an artist, and we can't announce her yet because she's not on contract, but we are going to meet out at the site probably September 15th or 16th in person with the whole committee and the artist, and hopefully review a modified proposal. And then go from there for a final design, and then hoping to have the mural painted by the end of October. My update.
That's a great update. That's important. Any questions for Kristen or Stephanie or anyone else for that matter from the commission? No? All right, I guess I'll welcome any questions, Jennifer, that you might have based on what you've heard today.
You don't want to open that can of worms, do you? I don't have any right now, but I think probably by next time I will, and in the interim, I will probably reach out to you for that offer of a meeting to sort of chat and get a sense of.
And one of the meetings that I don't know if it's been discussed, I mean, it's day 2 after all, but we do have a weekly meeting with Tyler. Chris Clegg is the vice chair.
Monthly.
What did I say?
John's been showing up every week. I don't.
What do you do?
They just said you're laughing like this, sir.
I sit on the park bench down in the office. Tell somebody, sorry, monthly. And during that meeting, we talk about the agenda for this meeting as well as, other items as it's appropriate. So that's a useful session.
And Jennifer has been added to this leadership meeting.
It's on my calendar,
Perfect.
and Doug told me about it, so.
Yeah, Thursdays are good. Okay, well, if there's no other comments or questions, then I will ask for a motion to adjourn a meeting.
Should Sophie do it?
Sophie, would you like to make a motion?
That feels like a big step, but I guess so. So I just motion to adjourn the meeting.
That is perfect.
Seconded.
Perfect.
Seconded by Melissa.
Ooh,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Sophie, that was an awesome first motion. Thank you. Want to thank
lots of
everyone.
work, but that was a good start, I guess.
We'll see you all on September 22nd.